Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a review slash some gameplay of PC Building Simulator by the Regular Corporation. I would say first off, I have seen it played, and as you can see by the continue, I have played it myself. Um, I have built a computer. This review will be just looking at the game and doing a little bit of nitpicking. And like I said, I built my own computer, so I know what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go with new game. I won't be doing the how to build, but I did do that, and I'll give my thoughts on it at the end when I do my overall review. So you start, basically, you've got a shop from your uncle who basically ran it into the ground because he didn't know what he was doing, seeing as he kept forgetting to put thermal paste on, and he left me with negative $15 because he took 15 for fuel. First one is a virus scan. This is basically the most simple thing you can do in the game. So, select to work on it, plug cables in, which it will not. This is a little bit of a nitpicking. It won't boot to the OS without a keyboard plugged in, which it's like if I just want to show that it'll boot to the OS, I don't want to. I want to be able to. I don't need the keyboard if I just want to show it'll boot to the OS. A little bit of an audio issue when you move away from that, but I mean it's early access. That's a bit to be expected. I completely forgot to do the virus scan like I was supposed to on this. Okay, your thumb drive is in your inventory. Power it on. Yeah, the Omega OS. Install the virus scanner. And yes, you have to restart, otherwise it won't actually take effect. So, scan it, clean it, pick up the computer, set it by the door, go to the email and collect your reward. Collect, discard. Yeah. Okay, this guy wants a new hard drive. It looks like this guy wants the viruses removed and dust cleaned, and a new graphics card. So you go to the shop, graphics card, wanted a 790, or 970 rather. Let's get him the cheap one. Or, yeah. Add to the cart. You can overdraft by 1,000, so this other guy wanted 500 gigs of storage. New cart. Do next day delivery, which will overdraft me as this email says. And then you end the day by going to the door. Or you can just use it to look at the calendar, which shows, what you're supposed to be getting, all that kind of stuff. So end the day, and the next morning, everything you ordered and all the stuff shows up. So let's start with this one. This was the upgrade the hard drive. Got to remove the thumb screws, which is right. A lot of these, apparently, from what I understand, of course, there's a glitch where it goes right through the side panel. But a lot of these, from what I understand, were like the original design drawings for some of these. That's why like the MSI cards later will look like actual MSI cards. Oh, storage, not memory. Yes, there is actually a difference between storage and memory. Storage is the hard drive. This solid state, M.2, no, M.2 is solid state. SATA solid state, NVMe solid state, but not to overwhelm all of you. So, yes, there is actually a difference in the types of storage. and then memory is the RAM. So if you say your computer needs more memory, chances are, or you're not actually referring to what you put your games on. Probably the most unrealistic thing about this game. You get all the USB stuff in the first time. Everybody knows you gotta try it like 3 times. Okay, that boots up. Set it over here. Okay, this one needs to be fixed. I believe this was the graphics card. Yeah. So let's remove the panel here. Now let's go ahead and plug these cables in. Awfully thin power cable. I mean, that thing's usually, heck, it's thinner than the USB. Okay. Gotta remove the thumb screws to take the card out. One thing is, if it's not not broken, it's actually worth it to keep, because you can always just throw it in later. It's free parts, basically. Yep, runs. Okay, let's put the side panel back on. That job is finished. And this one needs to be dusted and scanned. Start out by dusting it. Yeah, this really needs to be dusted. So, doesn't look like it. Am I cleaning it through the glass? No, I'm just cleaning the glass by the looks of it. Da-de-da. Takes a little bit, but you can dust everything. Looks like that has to be done on the inside. So, even though it's one of those, you have to take the thumb screws out on these, even though these are one of the panels that just swing open. So, I mean, it's a little nitpick, but it's a nitpick. Doesn't affect how I feel about the game, though. Okay, dust is done. Now, let's put that side panel back on, and they still need virus removal. One thing I just noticed is the install can sort by fits this PC. That's nice. Okay. Remove the viruses. This boots awfully quick for a mechanical hard drive. And that's all of them. So let's turn those in. Collect, collect, and collect. Then I leveled up. Okay. This person has 2 gigs of RAM, wants 16. So let's go to the memory, buy 2 8 gig kits. Let's see, is it going to be cheaper for the 2 8 gigs? 4 gigs is going to be cheaper than that 8 gig there. Nope, these look the same. Okay, let's get 2 8 gig kits. Okay. This one, virus removal. That one, new air cooler and dust clean out. So, cooling. They want the cheapest one, so let's go with this. Cart, next day delivery. And all this shows up. And call it good for the day. Parts have shown up. Let's start with this one. Pretty case. Looks like this is an NZXT case. Okay. Let's go ahead and put some of the cables in that I can. So I'm just replacing the cooler, so. I think it's for like 1,000, but you can eventually buy the way that this will all just plug in automatically whenever you hit power it on. Not exactly realistic, but oh well. Okay, blow it all out. It really doesn't look like it does anything when you blow the dust out. Okay, dust is taken care of. Let's remove this broken cooler. As you can see, in cooling, you've got the broken cooler. It's not worth anything. Let's go ahead and sell that. Plug the cable in. Power it on while I put the panel back on. And it boots. That's it for that one. Pretty case. Kind of changes colors depending on the light too. Let's go with this one next. Cooler Master? Nope, another NZXT. What do we got here? Remove viruses. Simple enough. There's basically no reason to not take a remove virus job because they're really quick to complete and you don't have to spend any money to do it. The number of people that don't use virus scanners is atrocious, though. Reboot it. Scan. Clean. That's all said and done. Right, yeah. And finally, I like this case. What do we got here? 16 gig RAM upgrade. Let's go ahead and plug the cables in. Really, the order you plug the cables in don't matter. Or even if you plug them in before or after. Keep missing. Okay, remove the panel. Remove the RAM. You do that. You actually have to remove or open the memory clips to do it, which is accurate. Then you've got to put the RAM in there, but I got to open up another clip. One thing is a lot of motherboards are picky somewhat about where you put the RAM. Usually it's like every other slot or something. But this game doesn't seem to matter. And I'll hold on to that RAM in case I got somebody that wants 4 gigs that already has 2. That way I don't have to buy RAM. Turn it on while I put the panel back on, because I know that worked. And that's it for this one. Turn them all in. Ooh! The one that needed thermal paste, I forgot to... Or the one that needed the air cooler, I forgot to put thermal paste on. The game will let you do that, and that is something that I have forgotten to do before personally. Although I can say that I've never forgotten to put the IO shield on. Also, one thing of note is, if you put the cooler on and then take it back off, you have to reapply thermal paste. Probably good practice to clean it off and reapply, but normally you don't actually need to reapply it every time if you put it on and immediately take it back off. It's usually just spread out a little and it'll still work. Power it on. Yeah, it boots. You go there. Collect and discard. Collect and discard. And collect and discard. Okay, this one's not turning on. Motherboard, you need to make sure you get a specific, because I mean different sockets and whatnot. A guy like won't support a Coffee Lake or a Ryzen, for example. So you got to make sure, especially when you're buying. It'd suck to buy a $200 motherboard, buy a $300 CPU, get them both, and figure out they don't work together. So this one, the uncle forgot to put the thermal paste on, like I almost did, or actually did. And this guy upgraded his computer, and now it crashes. It needs a new power supply. So I need a new Skylake motherboard and a 600 watt power supply. Next day shipping. Actually, you know what? Just to, let's see, tools. Like, see, auto connect tool. Screws will screw themselves in. Cables will automatically put themselves in. Standoffs will automatically do it. Parts put in faster. Screws put themselves in automatically. Cables automatically do themselves. This will actually come in handy later on, from what I understand. This will be needed later on. Used parts and part ranking. Interesting. So, hey, buy cases too. Oh, so that's what that one is. Okay. Actually, yeah, I bought it all. And I've got everything on its way. So, you can't turn the light on and off. Definitely not America, because those aren't American outlets. I apologize for my cat going nuts. Okay, got everything here. New, all that. I don't know which one this is, but we'll start with it. Power supply. This one, from playing it before, I actually know that this stupid thing has everything on the other side. So okay, so move cabling. I gotta remove this. Oh, right. The pass through for the power supply. Undo the screws. What the heck? Why am I having to undo 2 on each? Can I clip through this and see? I honestly can't tell. That's oh, it's the bottom of the note. Okay. Let's see. Seeing as he had a 250 watt power supply and he's got a 290 in there, yeah, no wonder it was crashing. That probably isn't even enough to run the graphics card on its own. Let's put this new 600 watt. I'll hold on to that 250, and you never know. Somebody might want one just a CPU. Okay, run cabling. We need the 24 pin. And your 4 8-pin for the CPU. What am I doing? Oh, the pass-through. Hard drive power. And I believe that's all the cables. Let's go ahead and plug those in and make sure that it boots. It's just hanging down there, I wonder. There's a cable just randomly. It's probably the monitor. Okay, he's already got 3D Mark installed. Downside on this is you actually have to wait for it to run all the way through. Apparently in a previous build you could Alt-Tab out of this, but if you have another bench, you can actually just, you know, walk off and wait, but I don't have another bench, so. I'll give them props for using the actual 3D Marks test, though. Turn my computer off. I don't need it right now. These are loud. Got a lot of dust in here. I should probably clean. Let's see here. That's a heck of a case. That looks familiar, just really modded out. That's still running. Let's see here. CPU. 470 super clocked. Wow. Let's see. Western Digital Velociraptor? Did Western Digital do Velociraptor? I don't know. Case mod. The mod zoo. And another mod zoo. Let's see. Looks like you could maybe put sticky notes here at some point. Z97N Wi-Fi. 3D Mark is done. One thing I'll point out is, if you do one of these, it actually takes you to the actual website, so. That was all I need to do on that, right? Yeah. Oh! I need to put the panel back on. Okay, now I'm done with it. Clip through the wall there. It's an early access game. There are bound to be bugs, of course. I mean, heck, full release games have bugs. What do we need here? This is the one that was mad because my uncle forgot to put the thermal paste on. So, interesting color. Let's see here. Remove that. Install thermal paste. There's a Ryzen chip in there. Install this. Oops. And like I said, whenever you put a cooler on and immediately take it back off, you need to reapply thermal paste. Luckily I remembered that. Don't know if you can actually overheat a CPU. Let's try that out real quick. Let's put that back on. Attach the cables. In fact, I'm even going to leave the cooler on done. Okay, let's put the thumbstick in there. Put the cables in. Don't worry, I'll install the cooler later. I just want to see if it will actually... Because any computer actually would not boot without that fan plugged in. There's a CPU fan header that, if there's nothing in it, by default, it will not let that boot. It keeps it from, the CPU from getting too hot and destroying itself, basically. Okay, let's just see what happens if I try and run this. I am frankly surprised that this is actually running. There's no way this computer, if it were real, would run. Assuming it even made it past the BIOS. This CPU would thermal throttle. Ah! There it goes. Timeout? Huh. It doesn't say anything about it overheating. That's interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the cooler and put a new. Let's see what happens if I just put in the cooler, but don't. But don't actually put cord in. Well, while I let that run, what was the other one I have out here? Motherboard replacement. I'm definitely going to do that. Yep, it crashed. Okay, power that on. This time it should actually run. Well, granted, a very low frame rate. Seriously, like that's 8-9 frames is all but unplayable, if not completely unplayable. I mean, heck, most monitors that you get are 60 hertz, so they can show 60 frames per second. I've got this game on fantastic settings, although I don't know why it keeps wanting to go to 50 hertz, even though I keep telling it 60. Apply, apply, apply. Like, see? Just defaults back. That's not making a difference. Either way, I'm getting about, like, even if I'm doing this, or, let's see, lowest I've seen is still in the mid 100 frames. Fantastic. So that shows that, granted, I've got a 1080 Ti and a 870K. It doesn't seem to be a very graphically demanding game. Let's see here. I think what I'll do is I'll finish this, I'll put the motherboard in, then I'll give my final thoughts. I just wish 3D Mark didn't take so long to run. Although again, credit for using the actual 3D Mark. There it goes. Puts the panel back on. Should have done that while I was waiting on the 3D Mark. Okay. Last one. Actually, let's make sure I actually finished that one. Yeah, I did. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Move the side panel. Okay, side panel's off. Now for the fun part. Removing the motherboard. You gotta take everything off of it. Cryo rig cooler, that's nice. I like cryo rig coolers. Haven't used one. I like how they look. Okay, plug the motherboard. Unplug front panel. Unplug the hard drive. Take out the CPU. Celeron. Jeez. This isn't a gaming computer. Celeron isn't much for gaming. But, that being said, gotta remove all the standoff screws. Then you gotta remove the standoffs themselves, which I think is a little too much to have to do. If I'm just taking the motherboard out and putting another one in, it's the case that comes with the standoffs, not the motherboard. So there's no point in not, I wonder, did I give him the same motherboard? Yeah, I was wondering if I gave him a better one. Whoops, didn't mean that. Also, if I put the right motherboard in, not the broken one. But yeah, if I'm just swapping out a motherboard, I'll leave the standoffs in there unless I'm going for a different form factor. Okay, install the CPU. Close the shield. Put the thermal paste on. Depending on the cooler, though, in person at least, like for example with this cryo rig one, I'd probably personally install the RAM before I put the cooler back on. But that's honestly just me. Memory, let's put the RAM back in. Actually, you know what? Let's just have a little fun with this. Let's put it on complete opposite ends. Did I not open the other end? Oh, I guess I need to pick the other stick. Okay, install the graphics card. Let's see, and okay. Now I just need to plug all the cables back in. Run that to the power. That front panel. That's like your. Granted, this is a heck of a lot easier than a real front panel I/O. Real front panel I/O has cords or has things that are has little plugs that are so dang small. You got to put them in the right spot. Got to get them positive, negative. So, and they're all like one. That's like the HD audio. That's like your headphone and mic jack on the front. Then you'd also have something about that size that'd be your USB 2.0. Thicker one would be your 3. But yeah, like the power button, all the LED or the little LEDs, those are like tiny. I'm trying to find like this cord is thicker than them. Something that might be a good reference on here. Like they're smaller than the 3.5 millimeter audio jack, so they're a pain. They're like looking at my computer right now, and like, yeah, they're tiny. That's all I can really say about it. Let's go ahead and power on. I'll put this on. Put the panel back on. Okay, so that finishes those jobs. Turn my computer back on. Collect, discard, collect, discard, collect, discard. I leveled up, I get access to more stuff. Oh, here we go. This one's a recommended spec one. I'll do that real quick. Or actually, I'll just tell you what it does. Whenever you do a recommended spec system, you have to get where'd it go? Where is it? The will it run? And then you basically have to find or buy the parts that you need to make it run on recommended or minimum. I'll go ahead and let that one come in just so y'all can see. This guy, the professionals send you long ones. This is basically saying he wants a total of 100 or 1500 gigs of storage or terabyte, 1.5 terabytes basically. Okay, so I don't know what you already have, so I'll wait. In the day, go to work. Which one's the will it run? Yeah, let's go with this one. Just do a quick show of how the will it run works. So, I never bought the program. By now. Okay, so plug the drive in. Cable it. Power it on. This guy likes sailing. You can remove the programs when you're done. You don't have to. But it's like a real computer. It goes most of the way. And the last one takes the longest bit. Okay, so he wants the sailing. So for example, just using that, sail away the sailing simulator. Minimum specs, what you need, what he has, he meets the minimum. Recommended specs, I need more VRAM, need a different graphics card. So we'd go over and order the graphics card. Actually, I wonder. Hey, cool. I'll just order it from his computer. Is that an HP monitor? Nah, it's the logo that they use. But right there kind of looks HP. So needs a 280. That was a 280, right? I wanted to There we go. Will it run? Yeah, it needs 280. See, you got the actual models right here and whatnot. So, just something to look at real quick. Go back up. Or the 280. But, anyway, whenever that shows up, I'd go ahead and order it. So, let's go ahead and put this down. And while I work on the next computer, I'll give you my thoughts and opinions. So, first thing is, you might like this if you like simulator games. I mean, simulator games are one of those things that a lot of people either do or don't like. They tend to get monotonous, repetitive, like just taking these screws out is a good example, plugging in the cabling. Yeah, they can get repetitive and all that. So, I'm completely understand if you don't like them. Some people, myself included, I like it on occasion. They're fun to play. I'll sit and play for a while, and then I'll not touch it for a while. I also feel it does a good job of, kind of teaching how to build a computer, even though, it's not perfectly detailed. I think the detailing is good enough I think the detailing is close enough to work. It's got a how to build a PC section in the main menu. I haven't done this on here, but I did go through it, and it gives you a good walkthrough. So it'll be fun to tinker with. It's only $20 on Steam at the moment. It is an early access. I personally like it. Your opinion may differ, and you are more than welcome to leave your opinion in the comments. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good game in my opinion. You can nitpick every game. There's probably still some bugs in there, like that hard drive tray, for example. So, with that being said, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. You're welcome to disagree, but that's what a review is. It gives you an idea of what the game is. So, thanks for watching. Have a good one.